Hey everyone, my name is Carlo and welcome back to another video. Now, I know it's been around 6 to 7 months, but it's 2020, time to make a new video, right? So, today we are going to be working on ShipIt Global. This app has been catching dust, might as well work on it, right? So, I made a few changes off video, and yeah. So, let me go ahead and tell you what kind of edits I did make. So I did notice that there was a bug where every time you were to click the develop, or every time you were put into the update screen, which I have left, and you were to click the developer's account login, it would go back to the developer's login screen. This is because of the kill switch, where it's a timed loop, where it simply just keeps going to the update screen every time it detects update. So what we did was that every time is that when you clicked button 5, it would stop the time loop to the point where the kill switch, where basically this time loop, it doesn't work anymore. Now, a bit of caution when using the stop time loop is that if you were not to specify what kind of time loop it is, it basically just shuts down the whole thing. Meaning, anything in the app that has a time loop, let's say you're receiving messages, if you made a texting app, it would basically stop. So, for me, I would set up some kind of name on it just to specify what kind of time loop it is. But for the sake of this video, we're not going to do that. Since there's only one time loop, and for as long as the series can go, we will probably add some kind of time loop in a later video. So, since we added that, we went ahead and created a login system. Now, I did see a comment on one of the videos where they are saying that there was no login, or how to create a login system. Now, I wasn't really sure if I did or not, but this is how you create a login system. So on button 13, which is basically the login button, since we can see right here, we are going to go ahead and read the records, basically like that. Now I created an account on the data table, on the data browser, and it basically is just the username, password, the rank, the name, and location. You do not have to copy exactly what this is, but this is just some kind of example. Now, we can see here that the data table is called accounts, so we can go ahead and type that in on the my table. And I went ahead and added an if-else command, an if-else statement, and I went ahead to the math section and just used an equal, because programming involves math, believe it or not. So, we can see here on the data tab that it comes with a ID and name, if you can see right here on the console log. Now, we're not going to be using the console log, but we are going to be using the ID and putting both of those here, username and password. Now, since these are text input 2 and text input 5, it's very important that you put it in the right section, because this basically just says username and password. Now, you don't have to add a placeholder, but you can add a placeholder if you wish. So, after that, we can go ahead and make the else commands, and I went ahead and put a status text box. Now, you don't have to name it exactly status 1, but you can, but I just added it just for simplicity. Now, you don't want anything in this text box because it's just the status. It just tells you the status of what's going on and what to do. So, on the status, I put incorrect username or password and incorrect username or password. And on status 1, I went ahead and added parentheses. So, great. We added all that. But the reason I added incorrect username or password is that when you are logging into, let's say, Google, you're logging into your Gmail account, your YouTube account, or maybe you're logging into something else, Instagram, Twitter, somewhere around there. It usually just tells you incorrect username or password. Now, sometimes the user might get mad because they want to know, okay, is it the username that's incorrect or is it the password that's incorrect? Now, the reason people add that is just because of privacy and security purposes. If you are going to add an incorrect username or password, you're basically not telling the user, okay, it's not the username that's right, or it's not the password that's right. This is just for privacy purposes, security, just so the user doesn't hack into a certain account. Yeah, we will be adding eventually a timed out session, or not a timed out session. We'll be adding some kind of timeout where if you enter too many attempts, it will time out, meaning it will stop, halt, and tell the user, please wait a certain amount of period, or reload your browser. So after that, I went ahead and set the text for text input 2 and text input 5 to reset and not have anything in the text box, because we basically don't need it anymore. And I went ahead and set the screen to the menu screen. So we can go ahead and try it out. So I set the username as test user. So I can go ahead and type in test user and test pass and log in. Okay, so and I went to the menu screen. So if we were to do it again, let's say you're trying to get into something, oh, there's an update. If I were to type in test user, but like a random type of password, and log in, you would notice that it says incorrect username or password. Now if I type in the correct password, but the incorrect username, it would keep doing that, and I won't be able to log in, and yeah. Sucks, right? But what if you want to add additional accounts? Well, we can do that. We can go ahead and type in, let's say, admin and password. By the way, if you do have a router and you didn't set up a username and password, it might be a good idea to add that. Instead of just making it admin and password, at least change the password. But that's a different video. Rank can be administrator. The name would be, let's say, Max. Location would be, you can say, we can say Bend, Oregon, because we have a location there, I guess. So what's nice about the data browser is that you can update it as much as you want, and the user doesn't have to reload it, which is kind of a cool feature, right? So we can go ahead actually and just type in admin and password, and there you go. And you still are able to enter test user and test pass. Let's say if I were just to add an exclamation point, incorrect username or password, and I can go ahead and log in. You're gonna add as much accounts, well, from that I can think of, into here. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and work on the login to my account. Looks like we also added some screens for that. So we can just go ahead and type in disable. You don't have to make it capitalized, or you don't really have to add it at all, but I wouldn't delete it yet, or just yet. We will be working on a developers page where it will be messing with this. Okay, so we went ahead and typed in disable. That way now you can't get stuck to an update screen. Okay, so let's go ahead, and we're not going to work on the login to my account yet. Well, but if we were to create the login to my account, we should actually just put _update. But if we were to do the login to my account, there's really nothing to log into. So we can go ahead and do the track my shipment. So if we do tracking, let's see, there's just tracking and then tracking 2. And we go ahead to tracking. We would notice that if you were to type in the tracking number, there's nothing going to happen. So we need to go ahead and add some kind of code here. Go ahead and add a name. We'll just put Carlo and enter last name here. Okay. Alright, so since we added that, we can go ahead and create a tracking page. So we can go ahead and add another comment just to stay organized and put tracking. And on the tracking, we can go ahead and, is button 7? Yes, button 7 has a code. We can go ahead and put it to button 8 as that is the correct, not button 7, button 8. And we can go ahead and put a read records. Okay, so we can go ahead and see that it says tracking right here. Okay. And we're going to need all of this data. So we can go ahead and type in if else command. We can go ahead and put an if on it, and we can go ahead and put in number. So actually, we should put this right here. And we can go ahead and put a get text input 1, as that is the tracking number. And we can go ahead and add a status. So on the status, on the text alignment, we can go ahead and make it around 10. Make it blank. Now, a cool feature is that if you were to have, let's say, that same ID, you can it will actually highlight it in red, or make the background of the text box red. You can therefore change it. So don't be nervous if you add a certain ID you're not sure is it the same one. That might have some kind of interference with the code. So we can go ahead and type in set text on status 2. I'm just going to go ahead and type it, and we can go ahead and put incorrect tracking number. Cool. Now we can go ahead and put a set timeout, put it around 3000 so we can just alert the person that's reading it, and then we can just make the status to blank for a certain duration of time. So now since it's the incorrect, so now since we put the incorrect tracking number, we can go ahead, and if it confirms it, we can go ahead and tell it to go to tracking 2. Now on tracking 2, we see that there is another button that we need to add, and I do not see it, so we can go ahead and just type in button 9. And we can go ahead and set the screen straight to the menu screen. Alright, so we notice that it says address to. So we're going to go ahead and get this one. And we're going to go ahead and put this before the text so we can prepare it. So address to. There you go. If that were to happen where the purple were to go here, simply just press the backspace button, usually fixes it. Alright, so since we added that address too, now there is something called the status of shipment. Now, if we were to write test, we can go ahead and just increase it a little, because this is basically the main information. But we're going to go ahead and erase that. And it says label 16. And it says status right here. Oh, not status, label 16. And we can go ahead and get another of this and just place it right here. And there you go. And it sets the screen to tracking too. Let's go ahead and check this out. Ooh, we forgot one more thing. On the tracking number, we added another text box saying track number. We can go ahead and just put the tracking number that you typed in before. So track number, and we can put get text from text under in this underscore input 1. Okay, so we went ahead and done that. Let's go ahead and try it out. 0001, and it says right here that the tracking number is right here. It says it's addressed to 1001 Carlo Place Southeast, Sharpener, Washington 00004. And the status of shipment is in store. Now, for the privacy purposes, we're not going to involve the original location. Yeah, saying it's in store. Now, usually in this case, I would add a timed loop, but timed loops can get a bit glitchy at that point, because it's going to keep keep the timed loop going and going and going, causing the app to lag a little. And usually, if I were to add that, we need the time loop to stop. So I would basically have to add a stop time loop on the go back. But let's say the person has another tracking number they want to add, the time loop wouldn't be working anymore, and basically it's stuck on that screen. So we can go ahead and type in a different tracking number just to test it out. So we can say this is on delivery, and we can put Nintendo of America warehouse, just for example, and then address it to Nintendo of America retail store. The rank will be, we'll put a priority shipment, and the current warehouse can be at the we can put it at the San Francisco district warehouse. And name, we'll just put test name. Alright, so since we went ahead and added that, track my shipment, it still has the tracking number. We can go ahead and fix that later. And it says right here, Nintendo of America retail store. And you can still see that the tracking number also works for the other shipment. So it says this one's in store, and this one is now on delivery. Now, you're probably wondering why we didn't add the other data browsing tabs. The data columns. The reason we didn't add the data columns is the rest of them is either for security purposes or just because. So we can go ahead and we can actually keep this data for ourselves for now, and we can add as we go on the Track My Shipment. Alright, next is the purchase the prepaid label. So on the purchase prepaid label, we can actually do that. We can actually go ahead and create another screen, since there already is, and we can go ahead and make it a random color. And welcome. ShipIt global internal. Make it sound fancy. Internal prepaid label service. Okay. And we can go ahead and add a go back button. And basically I'm going to stop it there. So on the next video, we'll be working on the prepaid label and maybe some additional, and the login, the login account. But I think what we're going to do is change the login to my account to a different feature where it's going to be employees only, since we want to integrate it with employees, like the Target app. Target app, you can employees can integrate their account with it, surprisingly. But yeah. Oh, we can also change the copyright since it's now 2020. Alright. So I guess that's it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions, put in the comments below. And Happy New Year.